There's a coalition in the Pentagon that is basically eradicating the whole ministry of these Army and military chaplains. Oh, they want them there. They're just not allowed to say anything that identifies them with a particular creed. In other words, they can be chaplains, but everything they do has to be this bland, generic force of some kind that might help them if it really existed. And I was looking for an article. I thought I had it here, and I don't see it. What was that, on Drudge Report maybe or something? The military somebody was trying to get atheist chaplains in the military. Why? Why do you need them? Why do you need an atheist chaplain? What's he going to do? Come over and say, now, you're your own God. So if you need help, why don't you pray to yourself, and then yourself will answer you, and yourself will help you? Because really that's what it's all about. It's all about yourself. So why don't you pray to yourself? I don't understand what an atheist chaplain would do, and I don't understand. I guess it's typical of the military of the 21st century and of the latter 20th century. For political reasons, now we send soldiers over into enemy battlefields with guns and no bullets. Bill Clinton did it. And from what I'm here, Barack Hussein is doing it. Oh, I'm a racist. I did it again. I said something about the President of the United States, and for some reason you think that because if I have a problem with the President, it's because I'm white and he's half black. Brent, my son Caleb is biracial. And I knew that when we adopted him. My grandchildren, 4 of them so far, one of them's in heaven, is biracial. So, I'm waiting for you to write in and tell me why I'm a racist. Now, I'm against this president on so many issues, but that's not a big deal. I was against Bill Clinton, too, on moral, religious, Christian, principled ideas. I was against him. I'm against this president for the same reason. There are issues I had with George Bush that did not sit well with me, for the mere fact that after 9/11 and after we know that Muslim terrorists and extremists are the ones who allegedly did what they did on 9/11, now we're going around and we're essentially trying to partner with Muslim clerics to paint a picture that not all Islam is bad. Well, from a Christian standpoint, yeah, it is. It's bad. It's the worship of a God, and God said, thou shalt, one of the commandments, first one, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And so George Bush claims to be a Christian, and yet he's saying, now, Muslims are peace-loving people, and, we all worship the same God. No, we don't all worship the same God, George. So it's not racism. It has nothing to do with that. But I don't know where I don't know why you think, and I don't know why you cannot fathom that somebody like me would have a problem with something that he's doing, or you can't answer it, so you just say, well, Hoggard's a racist. That's his problem right there. But anyway, so here's this guy that cannot, he's a military chaplain, cannot write an article, an essay about no atheists in foxholes, or he's a hater. He is a hater. See, call him a name, and now he's a hater, and now you've solved the problem. Now it's not an issue. Now you don't have to deal with it anymore on an intellectual basis. All you have to do is call somebody a name, and now they have to defend themselves, they think, against the name calling, because you can't answer them on an intellectual level. Let's see if he wrote in. Brent, no. Okay, somebody else did. Wesley. Hey, Mike, I'm one of them black preachers. I've heard some things you have been saying about the rebel flag being okay. You also seem to be in favor with George. Stop right here. When, Wesley, did you hear me say that I was in favor of George Zimmerman killing Trayvon Martin? When did you hear me say that? When did you hear it? Because I never said it. Never said it. You seem to be in favor of George Zimmerman killing Trayvon Martin. You told some black woman on your show a few weeks ago that she had to prove blacks, got more mistreated by the law than whites, and you always seem to dog the Hebrew roots in Rick Warren. Absolutely. Absolutely. So why does that make me a racist, Wesley? Why does that make me a racist? That I dog the Hebrew roots in Rick Warren. I'm doing so on biblical grounds. I did a video called The Biblical Case Against Rick Warren. I didn't say anything about him as far as the shoes he wears, the foods he had in the refrigerator, what his wife does on weekends, where she goes shopping. I don't care. I don't care where he goes on vacation. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter who he buddies up with. Well, it kind of does. But what I said about Rick Warren, and what I've always said about Rick Warren, was from the Bible. Rick Warren said this. Here's what the Bible says. And Wesley, I want to encourage you, get a King James Bible and read it. Ezekiel chapter 3. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. That roll was the word of God. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go and get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. That's what God was doing. That's the office of a prophet. God is the one who writes the words, Wesley. He writes the words, and he put them in the Bible, and we're supposed to read those things. We're supposed to open our mouth and put those in us so that when we preach what God said rather than what somebody else said, rather than what we want everybody to hear, rather than this message or that message. Based upon the ebb and tide of humanity, we're supposed to preach what God told us to preach out of the Bible. He said, For thou art not sent unto a people of strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. You know what God's saying to Ezekiel? Ezekiel, I'm making you a hard head. I'm making you bullheaded and stubborn, and you don't flip-flop just because the issues are out there, and some people, you don't want to offend them, so I better not say anything. And I'm not backing down. And you can call me a racist, you can call me a hater, you can call me whatever names you want. And he said, you always seem to dog the Hebrew roots and Rick Warren, who love blacks and love Obama. When Rick Warren stood, Wesley, in front of the entire nation on the inauguration day of Barack Obama and prayed his prayer in the name of the Muslim Jesus, I have a huge problem with that. So how are blacks supposed to think when a so-called preacher man like you speaks such hate? I don't hate. You tell me, you show me, you get the show, you get the transcript, and you show me where I said I hated black people, or hated Hispanics, or hated Barack Obama, or hated Rick Warren. Show it to me. And on the issue of the rebel flag, I explained the position that I took very carefully. You want to talk about racist? All a guy has to do is have a rebel flag on the back of his pickup truck, and people will stereotype him as a racist. That's wrong. Remember what Martin Luther King said. He longed for a time when we wouldn't judge people on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character. So I would ask the question, Wesley, and I don't want to criticize you unjustly, but are you not judging me because I'm white? And I'm asking a legitimate question. I'm not going to accuse you of that because you haven't said that. Likewise, I think I should have the same judgment. I don't criticize somebody because, well, they're black or they're this. I don't do that. I wait to see what comes out of their mouth. And when I see what comes out of Barack Obama's mouth, and it is favoring a godless immorality like sodomite marriage or abortion, then I am required by God to say something about it. Doesn't matter if he's black or not. So, Wesley, let me hear back from you. Let me hear back from Brent. Where's Brent? But anyway, the position on the rebel flag, not every, if you label someone as a racist because they had a Confederate flag on the back of their truck, you're wrong. And you're doing the same thing to them that you don't want white people doing to you. Well, he's black. That means he must like watermelon. I don't believe that. Well, he's black. That means he must be this, or he must like malt liquor, or this and that and the other. You're stereotyping whites, and you don't want us stereotyping you. That was the whole issue with Trayvon Martin, is that people were saying that Zimmerman stereotyped Martin because he had a hoodie on his head. And you're saying that wasn't right. And if that's what Martin did, it wasn't right. So it's not right to do it to me either. It's not right. That was my point in dealing with that article, was a school kicked him out of school. Not because of what he said, not because of what he did. He didn't hang a black person up in effigy. He didn't write graffiti all over the school with hate speech on it. They were having a redneck Bubba day at school, and he dressed the part, and they threw him out. Why? Because they judged him to be a racist because of that flag. That was my point with it. They judged him. They should have asked him, son, you got a problem with black people? Are you a racist? They should have looked at his Facebook profile. They should have found something on him that said he was a racist. But instead, they judged him on two things. Number one, the color of his skin. And number two, the flag emblem that he had. And that was wrong. Nobody else wants it done to them. So why should he have it done to him?